Miscanthus Chinese silvergrass. Alright. Obviously, the easiest way to tell that this is Miscanthus is the flower structure. Alright, so the flower structure is held up a foot or two above the rest of the clump of grass. Alright, and it sort of looks like, I've heard people say that it sort of looks, this is really ridiculous. It doesn't really look like an old man's hand, but it kind of does, maybe, like, you know what I'm saying?
Like chicken claws.
Like chicken claws. I like that way better. Like an old chicken claw.
Dried up, like when you kill them.
Like a dried up chicken claw. All right, I like that. All right, the pedicels here, the structures that hold up the flower structures are much thicker and a little bit more substantial than the rest of the particular stems. Okay, this thing doesn't actually have true stems. It has pseudo stems, which are wrapped up leaf bases or petioles. Okay, so obviously it's completely herbaceous. Okay, we didn't talk a whole lot about monocots, but you guys know, I remember from last semester, and if not, we'll get you some of the worksheets as far as monocot versus dicot. Everything we're looking at today is monocot. All right. Monocot means literally one seed leaf, and if you saw these coming up from seed, you'd understand that, versus a dicot meaning two seed leaves. Okay, all the broadleaf plants that we see are dicots. All the grasses, like bananas that we're going to see, a lot of these more herbaceous plants are monocots. Okay, palms and things like that. Okay. So we'll discuss a little bit more about that if it comes up, if we need to. But for the most part, look at these flower structures, how wispy they are, okay? And then these flower structures become seed-bearing structures, and that's what they are right now. Over the winter, if you see them, they hold the seed for the particular plant. You see some of them. This is all Miscanthus, basically. This entire huge block of ornamental grasses. All right, you can see that these have already let go of their seed, but they still have that very characteristic look. Okay, so if you're going to identify Miscanthus in the wintertime, this is the way you do it. Okay, now you'll notice that even though we've had really cold temperatures, there are some of these Miscanthus that have held on to some green foliage. All right, and some of it is getting ready to sort of pop out. So we need to come back and cut these things. That's the way you deal with it. You come back and you cut them down, and the new growth sprouts out and looks nice for the rest of the year. Miscanthus has got very nice variegation on the foliage. You see a lot of, there are some Miscanthus that are nearly green, but for the most part, there's a lot of different variegations. You see some creamy whites, some yellows, and basically, some variegations they're more yellows and creamy white than green. But those are the variegations that you typically see in Miscanthus. All right. Obviously, you see Miscanthus varies a little bit as far as height is concerned. Some of them get up to 5, 6, 7 foot tall. Some of them will stay at 3 to 4 foot tall. And then you'll notice that to identify the particular plant, the leaf bases are wrapped, they're folded, and that's going to mean less and less to you as you see more grasses, because they're all going to look similar to that. But these are much larger than the other grasses that we'll see for the most part. All right, we'll see Muhlenbergia here in just a moment, and that's really the only one that you're going to get this confused with. Okay, I believe. All right, another thing is the margins on Miscanthus. They have a little bit of a, I guess it's a really fine toothing on there that would almost feels like it's, if you rub your hand against it the wrong way, it's rather sharp. But we'll see pampas grass here in a few moments where it's extremely sharp. All right, so realize that that's, and then you'll see these hairs, these really fine pubescence on right along where the ligules, which is this particular structure right here, meets the grass. All that botanical jargon and whatnot is important, but for you guys to identify it, look for this really flat leaf base with a long pubescence, okay, and then all this variegation with a little bit of margin on the side, and then this structure, okay.